You already know her story. You have seen her 1,000 times without ever knowing her name. The beautiful fallen woman, the prostitute who wept at the feet of a holy man, dried them with her hair, and was forgiven. The sinner who became a saint. Painters could not get enough of her. She is always half undressed, always weeping, always ashamed of something. For 14 centuries, she was the Church's favorite reminder that even the lowest woman can be saved. There is only one problem with that story. None of it is true. The Bible never says she was a prostitute, not once, not in a single line, in a single gospel, in a single verse. The woman the whole world remembers as a repentant whore is something the text simply never called her. Someone took the first witness to the most important morning in Christianity and quietly turned her into a sinner, and they got away with it for more than 1,000 years. So go back to the source. Open the Gospels and read every single line that mentions her. Start with her name. It does not come from a sin, it comes from a place, a small fishing town on the edge of the Sea of Galilee called Magdala. So she is simply the woman from Magdala. That is all the name has ever meant. It is a hometown, not a confession. The Gospel of Luke says that Jesus healed her, that 7 demons went out of her. And in that world, demons meant sickness, torment, affliction of the body and the mind. It did not mean sin, and it certainly did not mean sex. After she is healed, she does not vanish back into the crowd. She follows. She and a group of women pay for the entire ministry out of their own money, which quietly tells you she was not poor and not an outcast. She is there at the end when almost everyone else has run. She stands at the cross while the men are hiding. And then, on the first morning, she is the one who comes to the tomb and finds it empty. In the Gospel of John, the risen Jesus appears first to her, before any apostle, before Peter. He speaks her name, and he gives her a message, and he tells her to carry it to the others. A woman is sent to tell the men that the story is not over. The early theologians even had a title for that. They called her the Apostle to the Apostles, the first person to preach the resurrection. Read all of it, from beginning to end, and nowhere in any of it is she ever a prostitute. So where did the prostitute come from? The answer is a date. The year 591. In Rome, the most powerful man in the Western Church rises to preach. He is the Pope, and history will remember him as Gregory the Great. He opens the Gospels in front of his congregation, and he does something that will echo for more than 1,000 years. He takes 3 different women, and he folds them into one. There is the woman from Magdala. There is another woman entirely, a Mary from a village called Bethany. And there is a third woman unnamed who appears earlier in the Gospel of Luke, a sinner from the city who washes the feet of Jesus with her tears. 3 separate women, 3 separate stories, in 3 separate places in the text. Gregory looks at all of them and simply declares that they are the same person. In his own words, the woman Luke calls a sinner is the woman from whom 7 demons were cast out. With one sentence, in one sermon, the witness of the resurrection and the anonymous sinner of the city become a single woman. And from that day forward, her name carries another woman's shame. Now watch how the trick actually works, because it is almost elegant. The Gospel of Luke says 7 demons left her. Gregory takes those 7 demons and he reinterprets them. They are no longer an illness. He announces that they are the 7 deadly sins, and sitting among the 7 deadly sins is lust. So the sickness becomes sin, the sin becomes sexual, and the healed woman becomes a whore. Notice what did not happen. Nothing in the text was changed. Not a single word was crossed out or added. He simply laid a new meaning over the old words, like wet paint brushed across a name. And because the man holding the brush was the Pope, The new meaning set hard and stayed. The artists took it from there. For the next 1,000 years she is painted with loose hair and bare shoulders and a jar of ointment, kneeling, endlessly repenting for a life she never actually lived. The most faithful follower Jesus had was remembered as the very sin she was supposedly forgiven for. The witness was buried underneath the sinner, and almost nobody noticed that a switch had ever been made. But there is a deeper layer underneath even that, because it turns out that someone, long ago, wrote an entire gospel in her name. In the year 1896, a German scholar buys a worn and battered book of papyrus in a market in Cairo. It is carried back to Berlin, locked in a museum, and studied slowly, page by fragile page, for decades. And when it is finally read in full, it turns out to be something that was never supposed to survive. A gospel. Not of Matthew, not of Mark, not of Luke, not of John. A gospel according to Mary. It is the only early Christian gospel we have that was written in the name of a woman, and the woman is her. The text is old, older than the surviving copy in that Berlin book, reaching back toward the 2nd century, close to the age of the 4 Gospels that made it into the Bible. For almost the whole of Christian history, nobody even knew that it existed. It had been left out, left behind, buried in the dry sand of Egypt for over 1,000 years. And when scholars finally read what it actually said, they began to understand why. In this gospel, the scene is quiet, and it is devastating. Jesus is gone. The disciples are terrified. They are hiding, convinced that they will be hunted down and killed next. And it is Mary who stands up and steadies them. She tells them not to be afraid, and then she tells them something more, that the Lord had given her a teaching in private, a vision that the others had not been given, and she begins gently to share it with them. This is the moment it all turns. Peter cannot accept it. His brother Andrew says the teaching sounds strange, that he does not believe it came from the Lord. And then Peter says the thing that gives the entire game away. Would the Savior really have spoken privately with a woman and not openly with us? Did he choose to prefer her over us? He is not questioning the message. He is questioning her because she is a woman. Then another disciple, a man named Levi, cuts in to defend her. Peter, he says, you have always been hot-tempered, and now I see you attacking this woman as if she were an enemy. If the Savior made her worthy, who are you to cast her aside? Almost 2,000 years ago, in a text that most people would never be allowed to read, someone wrote down an argument about whether a woman had the right to speak for God. And the man who doubted her in that story is Peter, the rock the whole church was built upon. Now step back and look at the full shape of what happened. A woman is the first to see the risen Christ. She is handed the first message and told to carry it to the men. A gospel is written in her name, in which she comforts the apostles, teaches them, and is doubted by Peter. And then, slowly, across the centuries, every piece of it is quietly rewritten. Her gospel is left out of the Bible. Her authority is folded away into a story about a sinner. Her name is fused with a nameless prostitute by a single sermon, and that version, the false one, becomes the one that is painted, preached, and remembered in every church. This is not a book being burned in the street. It is subtler, and it is heavier than that. It is a meaning laid carefully over another meaning. The witness is still there, underneath, if you know how to look for her. But on the surface, the church chose to remember the sin instead of the message. The loudest voice in the room decided who she was allowed to be, and she was not there to answer it. Here is how it ends, or how it fails to. In the year 1969, almost 14 centuries after that sermon in Rome, the Catholic Church quietly corrected the record. It removed the official identification of Mary from Magdala with the sinful woman of the city. There was no apology, there were no headlines, just a small, silent change to a calendar admitting that the prostitute had never been in the text at all. But by then the paintings hung in every museum, and the story lived in every mind, and a quiet correction cannot lift 1400 years of paint. So we are left with two women wearing the same name, the witness who was sent first, and the sinner who was invented later. Only one of them is actually in the Gospels. The other was written over her, one sermon at a time. The text tells us which of them was real. It just took the world a very long time to learn how to read it. Make of that what you will.